There have been multiple attempts, I think it's by the FTC, to get rid of non-compete clauses and NDAs. The Federal Trade Commission has, proposed a rule to ban non-compete clauses in particular. I don't know what the status of that is at the moment. There is also, I think, an FTC move to ban at least or make your NDA an unenforceable non-compete. These are both actions that the government can take. And it's interesting to see right-wingers come to understand that there are certain things that are unjust, that they are manipulations by what they would call powerful people, but it's really, it's capitalists and bosses who have too much power in our society and in relationship to workers. And this guy, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
This guy named Jared, who did they call him? What did they call him? Not gay Jared?
Yeah, they called him Not Gay Jared every time he was mentioned on the show.
He worked on Steven Crowder's show, and he left a couple of years ago, and there was a lot of controversy around it. I mean, but nobody really knew because he didn't really say that much about it. And apparently, Steven Crowder, it appears, because he doesn't name him, but he says my former employer, has been basically assaulting this guy with all sorts of lawsuit threats, injunctions, whatnot, because there's something, I guess, that Crowder's very, very afraid is going to come out about what is going on at his workplace. And it's interesting. You remember Crowder when he said it was an assault on freedom when he had to sign an NDA.
He said Big Tech is in bed with Big Con, and it's because of these onerous contracts.
Yep. Well, I guess I know where he got the idea for those onerous contracts. Here is conservative political commentator Jared Monroe, who posted this on Twitter the other day. It's a 15-minute clip, but we're just going to play the first 3 minutes.
Enough is enough. This can't go on any longer, and as the famous saying goes, sunlight is the best disinfectant. So, here we go. I'm currently being legally abused and intimidated into silence by a former employer. This has been going on for a while now, and it simply cannot live in darkness for another day. But I am asking for your help to fight back. First, some context. In late October of 2023, to my surprise, I was served these papers. A cease and desist from my former employer. It threatened severe legal action in the form of a lawsuit and demanded I cease communications with my friends. The scare tactics of cease and desist are generally to intimidate, isolate, and eventually devastate. Like most cease and desist, it also demanded that I swiftly provide them written certificate of my compliance. I did not. In the same delivery, I was also served these papers. A Rule 202 petition from my former employer. You can look that up on the internet. I know I had to. These documents were filed with the county court of my former place of employment, demanding that I be subject to an oral deposition under oath for an unlimited amount of time, where they were free to interrogate me on pretty much any private matter that they chose. Also, in this petition for discovery, they demanded that I turn over documents of all communications with more than a dozen of my friends, an unlimited amount of unnamed persons in any form and over an unlimited period of time. I did not. Now, I did not for a few reasons. Number one, I have seen how this employer handles legal issues, and I knew that once I opened the door to legal abuse, it would never, ever be shut. This is how they operate. In fact, I'm not the only one who's a current victim. My former employer is exploiting the legal system to abuse others right now, all in the darkness, fully knowing that the fear and risks it takes to speak up. This kind of harassment at the hands of the powerful isn't just designed to financially ruin somebody, it's designed to cripple their soul. And I wasn't about to put my family on embarking upon a journey down that road. Number 2, I was not about to allow the privacy of my personal life.
All right, we don't need to. I mean, people should check.
So you are going to have your own
real relationships I have with them.
Pause it. Basically, he goes on to talk about like all of these things that Crowder's people are doing to harass this guy. And in the end, he basically says, I'm done. He's doing a fundraiser and he's going to try and fight back. And it also sounds like he has a lot of information that once he gets a judge to say that the NDA is not reasonable, he's going to release this stuff.
Yeah, and Crowder's suing for that information, it seems like, too. On all the, he goes later in the video saying all the communications with friends and stuff like that, they're suing to get that. And apparently the judgment was made that he has to give that stuff up. And instead of doing that, he's doing this. And, I think he's probably still got abhorrent political values, but it's horrible to see a worker in this industry get treated like this and get victimized by an NDA system. And he's got, like you said, like he's got new kids, and Crowder's doing this to him.
Honestly, like, I don't know how look, I remember the day that Rush Limbaugh, it was announced that he got busted for pulling out, they caught him pulling out, $9,900 from his bank in cash to buy Oxy. And I remember exactly where I was. I think it was in 2003, and I was out in LA at the time working, and I remember thinking like, wow, I wonder how his audience is going to react to the fact that he's been calling, drug addicts like, morally degenerate for years, and they didn't seem to care. At the end of the day, they didn't really seem to care. And I wonder if Crowder, who, what was it, a year ago? Less, had this big fight with Daily Wire 6 months ago, basically saying how disgusting it was for them to include a non-compete or an NDA. Like, he wouldn't sign an NDA. And of course he was full of it, right? He just didn't get as much money as he wanted. But to have made that huge thing and then to have this revelation out there, here is Gerald Morgan, who is the CEO of Mug Club and also his sidekick, talking
Wacky.
about this whole thing with Jared on Rumble. I guess this was yesterday, and claiming that it's a big conspiracy involving Crowder's ex-wife.
Everything you've seen in the public eye has been part of a well-orchestrated plan. What is that plan?
Pause it for
To
one
assimilate-
second. Are they working out together? Like, is Jared, like, it looks like that Gerald's like, you just put Crowder's head on that same body.
Same build.
Yeah.
It's getting jacked.
Yeah.
Last year and a half, everything you've seen in the public eye has been part of a well-orchestrated plan.
Pause it for one second. Did you
What is
say
that?
from the past year and a half?
Does that include you and the Ethan thing? Or is that out of the jurisdiction?
No, Sam Seder.
That's so good.
Go ahead.
Plan to assimilate damaging PR assets and wage a negative publicity campaign against Stephen.
From your Ring camera?
I'll show you the quotes. I'll show you the text messages. I'll show you everything.
Why is
all of the
Stephen
stuff that we did not talk about because we were giving people the opportunity to do the right thing. Taking the hits, taking the hit pieces, dealing with all of it to give people the opportunity to do the right thing. They chose not to. I wonder.
And just want you to know, truth is the ultimate shield.
Yeah.
Except for Steven's afraid to say any of this. He's back in the
He's crying.
right now.
Yeah.
But
And also, we didn't respond to all that really damaging stuff, not because, but because we were letting you have a chance to do the right
because
thing. Not
we
because we
handed
totally
it
could
to
have
our
responded.
lawyers, and we were having them try and sue people who had no health care and were about to expect a baby.
Taking the hit pieces, dealing with all of it to give people the opportunity to do the right thing. They chose not to. I wonder why Jared decided to release his video yesterday. Just for some backstory, there had been no communication between our attorneys for a couple of weeks, so there was no impetus for it. The document compelling him to give a deposition had already expired on March 15th. So when he released his video yesterday, he asked you to contribute money for a lawsuit that did not exist, unless he's had a lawsuit that he would like to file, which he indicated maybe that was the case. We had not sued Jared. We simply asked Jared to knock it off. I'll get into the timeline of that.
Under legal threat.
But Tuesday, March 26th was the day that he chose to release his video. I wonder if it had anything to do with Wednesday, March 27th being the 5th day of mediation between Stephen and Hillary.
Wait, pause.
Why release it the
Wait, why? What happens on the 5th day of mediation? Is that the day that God makes what? Makes the house payments? I don't understand. What happens on the 5th day? Why not the
Pretty
3rd
suspicious,
day?
though.
Why not the 4th day?
It's all there.
How many days of mediation are they going to do? Just 5? Like, why does
Wednesday,
he
March 20th.
emphasize 5th day?
Just the dumb numerology mind.
Is there some numerology thing that I don't know about?
Like, it seems biblical. Like, it does seem like there's
5.
something.
How many points are there on a Wiccan star?
4 plus 2 plus 0, 4, 20, 69.
But Tuesday, March 26th was the day that he chose to release his video. I wonder if it had anything to do with Wednesday, March 27th being the 5th day of mediation between Stephen and Hillary.
I like how he's being so
Why release it
somber.
the day before mediation? Mediation is a great opportunity for people to come together and resolve their differences peacefully.
Peacefully?
This is the 5th day.
Violence can
You want to do some research on how many days it normally goes on during divorces? You can. It's not 5. Here's the timeline.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Did I miss it? I'm not following. What are you saying? Like, there's something special about 5? Like, mediation lasts more than 5 days, but they're saying there's only 5 days?
What I take him to be implying here, and I have no sort of background knowledge to make any of this, but is that it doesn't take longer than 5 days. And that's why he's saying, like, maybe it lasted too long, and then they're like, okay,
I was in mediation for months.
Well,
5 days?
What happened on the 5th day, though?
Yeah, I almost wonder.
Well, I mean, it wasn't contiguous. We weren't meeting every day. It was like, you come in like once a week. I guess they're doing a quick one.
Yeah, I wonder.
We didn't have a lot we didn't have exactly the same assets that Crowder's probably dealing with. There was a lot of negotiations on who's going to get the 2016 Subaru.
I'm curious if he's implying, though, that, I mean, maybe he'll get to it a little bit. Obviously, we don't have to watch the whole thing. I'm curious if he's maybe implying.
I think we do. How long is it?
It's like 40
2
minutes.
hours.
Yeah, it's so funny to imagine where Stephen is.
I just wonder if he's implying sort of that maybe Jared wants this to be something that could be used by Hillary's lawyers against Stephen in the mediation. But I
just
don't know.
understand, like, why wouldn't Jared just give it to him?
Right. Instead of just
Like, he's got to do it
publicize
through
it.
Twitter. It's not like
Right.
Jared's not allowed to send stuff to the lawyer. Like, like the lawyers are going to call him and say, like, wait, what stuff do you got? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
can you
all
send it over
absurd.
to us?
So I'll just say, like, this is not the first time I've heard about former Crowder employees having a bad relationship to the point that they have to sign an agreement to shut up. I believe you can find Sven Computer stuff related to him. I've heard about maybe on Reddit or something like that. Like, seems to be a problem with the Crowder industry here.
How many days it normally goes on during divorces? You can. It's not 5. Here's the timeline. On October 27th, 2023, we filed our original Rule 202 petition.
I don't want. Fantastic moron. I've seen a lot of commentary by leftists on how they have no compassion for Jared because he should have known who he was working for, or that he has this coming because he actively helped Crowder push his propaganda. Why do you think the left has a blind spot regarding conservative victims of conservatism. Shouldn't we be welcoming them or at least maintaining basic compassion for all people, regardless of political identity? It seems so many people are indoctrinated into right-wing ideologies, and unfortunately, it is they who are the first victims of it. I mean, I tend to agree. I think, look, should he have known better? Is there a certain amount of glee that people take that, like, oh, I worked for the guy who, targets gay people and trans people and Jews for that matter, or black people, and I mock them for money. Shouldn't you know that this guy is is a piece of garbage? Yeah, probably you should have. But yeah, I feel bad for the guy. I mean, I don't. There's a lot of people in line that I would donate money to before him, maybe. But I feel bad for the guy. I know what it was like to be worried about health insurance when your kid's being born. It's difficult. Yeah. And it's hard. And I'm certainly happy to help in any way that I can. Have him destroy Steven Crowder, because Steven Crowder is a garbage person. But that's the other thing that I wish could happen with these people is to step back. And I understand, I mean, Jared's very much feels that God, saved him in this instance. But we do have an administration who are trying to roll back non-compete clauses. We do have an administration that's trying to curtail the use of NDAs. And it would be nice to, and again, I think people should have empathy with people who are suffering. But it would be interesting to see if Jared had the empathy to understand that, like, he's not alone in this, and that this is a structural situation, and that there are mechanisms out there. And I don't know anything about Jared. The first time I ever saw him was this video. So I don't know much about him at all. But I think people should be empathetic in these situations.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, the left moralizing about personal choices should come after maybe feeling empathy. But even more importantly, like, he's a useful example to illustrate a structural problem in this industry. And I think you should put the moralizing aside for the sort of you deserve to thing, which is, I think, it's just toxic.
Yeah, and if anything, like, it's one of those things, like, if you can't put it aside on a personal level, it's far more effective, just to be crass about it, to be empathetic and maybe go into Crowder's comments and spam his comments in support of this guy.
Yeah. So I hope he whether it's to prepare for future lawsuits. Like, I'm not mad at this guy asking for money, particularly from conservatives.
No, I wish him all the best.